So, you log into the Hypixel lobby, and you decide, I want to play some PvP, just some regular, good old-fashioned raw PvP. And then you run into this guy, the NPC for Hypixel UHC Duels. So you hop into a game, let's just say solo, and then you find a guy with a really sweaty username and really sweaty cosmetics, and you find that he just absolutely claps you. And you wonder, what are you supposed to do about this? And you want to know all the strategies and all the ways you can just do Hypixel duels, and you can just win a lot. And it would come with practice, as well as knowing what tactics and strategies you may need to work on more just to get the hang of it. And that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you in this video right here. Anyways, yo, hi, hello, and welcome. As you can see, I'm actually putting effort into this video. I even got a new thumbnail, boom, and a new intro, boom, and yeah, and I'm going to be showing you like all the strategies and tips and tricks I know on how to win Hypixel UHC duels. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Here's literally 2 seconds of advertisement. Alright, so my first piece of advice is actually get a decent texture pack that you like. I mean, it's totally personal preference. You don't have to, but I highly recommend one, just because the default texture pack in Minecraft just doesn't look the best for PvP. I mean, especially when you're trying to block it, that sword takes up like 80% of your screen. It's probably an exaggeration, but yeah, PvP packs really help, and in this video I'm using the Specular 20k Splash texture pack. It'll be linked down below in the description, as well as maybe the pack creator and the channel that this pack is coming from. So yeah, that's my first tip. Moving on to my second tip, I would highly recommend getting a PvP client, such as Badlion, Lunar, Cosmic, or PvP Lounge, or any other legit client you can find. My biggest client recommendation is Badlion. I don't prefer Lunar, but it's personal preference for me. It's honestly, in my opinion, too smooth for me. It does boost your FPS, but I don't like their interface, and I just don't like the way it feels, but that might be totally up to you on how it feels for you. Badlion I'm using in this video, and it is just all around amazing, and I never tried Cosmic or PvP or Forge or anything like that, so yeah, just make sure you don't use any hack clients and you should be good. The reason I use PvP clients is for, one, the old animations, two, just like seeing coordinates at my top left, having keystrokes is just something I like to have, and seeing my armor and my potion effects without going in my inventory is really great as well. There's other stuff that it brings, and I don't know, yeah, and there's other stuff that you guys might like in there too. So that's why PvP clients are great, and yeah. And you can also, one thing I really like about it is you can block hit while left clicking at the same time. It's not a cheat or anything, it's just old animations from the OG Minecraft from like alpha to 1.7.10. So, final tip before we get into like showing you what stuff to do in duels, I highly, highly, highly recommend you get hotkeys for yourself. Please don't make it a pain for yourself and scroll. Unless you're like the next X Nestorio or something, where you can scroll to basically every hotbar slot from 1 to 9 within seconds, or less than seconds. I'd highly recommend getting hotkeys that would fit you the best and would just help you the best in PvP. There's some great channels and videos that'll help you find the best hotkeys that you could use for yourself. I'll maybe link a video or a channel down below that I think would be the best to help you out. Alright, so first step, go into the emerald that is in your third slot of your hotbar, and then when you see that anvil, when you right click on it, click that, and then you can literally change the setup for your hotbar in every single duels game. So to edit a Hypixel Duels UHC, click on the golden head in the inventory, and then you can change it however you want. And you can also do this for many other modes, such as Sky Wars, Pop PvP, OP, Duels, Bridge, and everything like that. Okay, so when you get into the game of duels, first step is do not eat a gapple before you start fighting the person. In other words, pre-gapping. because that is just a waste of a gapple and a waste of regen, and that's just not gonna help you in the game whatsoever. It is a complete waste of a gapple, and you usually only get 2 hearts off of it, and that is only the absorbed hearts that you're gaining. You are not gaining anything off of that, and you're losing healing, making you lose the battle even more. As you can see, my opponent pre-gapped or ate a gapple at the beginning, which did not help him fighting me whatsoever, and it made him just lose a whole gapple. Next up is a friendly reminder, just do not just randomly start bridging while going to your opponent, or start just building up and skybasing, because that is just really annoying. I've dealt with so many, and it's just not fun to play as, and you're usually not even going to win the whole fight, so just please don't do that. Don't be one of those people, and you usually end up taking a lot of fall damage too. Now, you can like jump and place blocks under you just to get to your opponent faster, but just do not build up really high, and do not just practice bridging in the middle of the duels battle, because it's really annoying. Next up is rotting. So there's some other tips and tricks that are out there on YouTube that can like try to help you with your rotting, but rotting is like really essential in duels and PvP and everywhere. So yeah, just work on rotting, and remember to just do it a lot. Don't like spam your rod, because that's also really annoying. But also, like, while you're running away, to try to gap really quickly, just rod your opponent once and then quickly run away. And if you want to do it again, you can do that. But don't spam your rod, because you will probably lose the rod because of the durability. It has limited durability on Hypixel Duels. And yeah, it can get really annoying sometimes as well, like for you and your opponent. Next up, we got strafing. So again, there's a bunch of guys that'll help you strafe, but the main tip for me is like go the opposite direction your opponent's head is going, because then they won't be able to aim on you, and they won't be clicking on you, and you'll get free hits on them, and you'll get them into a combo. So yeah, strafing is really essential, and I'd recommend just like while you're going up to your opponent, like walking up to him, don't just straight line and hold W. Like hold while you're holding W, click A and then click D, A, D, A, D, A, D, and it'll confuse your opponent, and just keep your crosshair on him while you're doing A, D, A, D, A, D, and soon enough, and then you get like move yourself away from your opponent's head so he won't be aiming on you and clicking on you, and then you'll get him into a combo probably but it'll take some practice, and again, there's some guys out there that'll help you, and I'll link a channel description down below. Next tip I got for you is S-tapping. Now, generally people say always keep your finger either hovering above or on W at all times, no matter what. But honestly, for me, I take my middle finger off W and then quickly click S and then quickly back to W. There's some guys out there that'll also help you. I'll be saying this a lot probably, so I'm sorry. But if you look at my keystrokes mod at the top right, you can see that I'm clicking S and I'm timing my S tapping and maybe holding down one of my strafe keys like A or D, and it'll get me away from their range, but while at the same time I'm still in their range. And yeah, Minecraft physics are funky, but while I'm holding S, I'm still in their range, but they're out of my range, and I get free hits on them, and it helps me get longer combos, and it just helps me get them a lot easier, and it'll help you win a lot. It'll take some practicing. Again, there's a guide that'll help you that I'll probably link down in the description, if not a channel. But yeah, S-tapping, really important in PvP. Next tip for you is W tapping. Now, what W tapping is, it's basically S tapping, but you're just clicking your clicking your W key. Now, I don't want you to spam it. There's some cases where you can spam it, but don't just go like but don't do it all the time. I used to do that, and it messed me up a lot. So yeah, it'll also take practices. Again, there's a guide out there that'll help you, and like one specific channel, they're amazing at showing you like everything, and I'll link them down below. But basically, W tapping will make your opponent take more knockback, but you'll still be in their range, and they'll be out of your range, and they'll be up in the air, and you'll have the low ground. And by the way, low ground is very important in Minecraft PvP because you're in their range and they're out of your range, and yeah, it's hard to explain, but that's Minecraft physics for you. So my next tip is going to be about knowing when to bow and when not to bow. So when you should be bowing is when you're at a decent amount of blocks away from your opponent and you're able to aim your bow easily and hit them. If they build a wall, stop bowing and don't waste your arrows because you only get like 15 or 16. When they're in water, that's when they're most vulnerable, and that's when you can probably hit them the most because while they're in water, they can barely move. And then sort of on top of that is knowing when to gap when necessary. So you don't want to gap when they're right in front of you. That'll just get free hits for them, and you'll probably either end up dying or losing a lot of health that you shouldn't have lost. So make sure either you run away or you just make sure you're at a safe distance so you can gap. Also, a very important thing to know is that gapples heal 4 hearts of damaged health. So you don't want to gap when you're on 2 hearts, you don't want to gap when you're on 2.5 hearts. 3 hearts, maybe if you feel really confident, but 4 hearts and 3.5 hearts is when you usually want to gap. If you're confused on what I just did here, basically what I did was just make sure that my lava bucket wasn't glitched, because for some reason in either default Minecraft or in the Hypixel server, your bucket will lag out, or you might accidentally double click your right click mouse to pick up your lava or your water. So yeah, sometimes it'll show in the texture that you have your water or your lava back, but sometimes you'll try to place it down and it'll just not work for you, and your lava or water will be glitched and the source block will still be on the ground. So that's basically what I did there. One thing that most players probably should never do is try to get the high ground, because you will be out of your opponent's range and your opponent will be in your range, and when you jump, they'll be able to get low ground on you and they'll be able to get you in a combo. And when you try to like sprint and jump on blocks and stuff and jump over to just reach your opponent, they'll usually be able to get the first hit on you, and when they get the first hit, they'll be able to get you into a combo usually. But what I tried to kind of do here was jump, but at the same time I rotted so that they would be away from my range a little bit, and I'd be able to try to get the first hit. So yeah, just keep in mind that you don't usually want to jump a lot, and you usually don't want to jump on blocks. So this clip is kind of showing you when you should be placing down your lava bucket to either catch your opponent on fire or catch them in a lava bucket to catch them on fire. And keep them in there so you can get free hits and they'll lose health really quickly. So basically when you should be placing down your lava bucket is when they're either standing still or they're like moving straight, or they're basically holding W and going in a straight line. You can just basically predict where they're going to go and they'll fall in your lava. And then you probably want to strafe around a little bit just so they can't hit you and they're also distracted by the lava. And you'll get free hits on them. They'll lose health really quickly because they're in lava and they're also getting hit by you. But you also want to make sure that they don't do the same thing to you while you're doing it. So just make sure that you're not moving in a straight line most of the time, and you're not usually standing still. And also, don't fall for gapple tricks. Like when people sometimes try to eat a gapple, they'll start eating it, and then when you're going up to them to hit them, they'll quickly place down lava and they'll catch you on fire. You can also try the same thing to them. Just keep in mind to make sure you're smart about it and predict really carefully and quickly on where they're going to be jumping and landing and walking. And here is also a good spot to be talking about like when you should be placing your water down and when you should not be placing your water down. So if and when an opponent will place lava on you and you get caught in it or you get caught on fire, don't immediately place down the water bucket unless you're in the source block of the lava or you're just stuck in the lava. Quickly place it down and then make sure you keep it on the ground for a little bit unless the lava just disappears immediately, and then quickly pick it back up. But when your opponent is like around you and you're caught on fire, do not place down the water bucket immediately, because they will get free hits on you while you're looking down at the ground, and they will be able to get free hits on you and then eventually get you into a combo. So wait for them to be a little bit of a distance away and then quickly place down the water bucket so you don't lose any more health. Also, the fire could be an advantage to you because you take less knockback when you get the fire tick. So quickly just get them in a combo if you can, and because you'll take less knockback because of the fire ticks, and eventually they'll get away from you. And if not, you'll have to run away and quickly place down the water bucket when you're a safe distance away. One more thing to add here is when you place down a lava bucket or a water bucket, do not feel obligated to pick it back up because it is not the end of the world. You can still win the fight without it. And either way, if it's your first water bucket or lava bucket placing down, you still have another one either in your inventory or hotbar. So just don't freak out if you can't get it right away. If you can run away and gap, and then if they run away from the water or lava, you can quickly pick it back up. But just don't feel obligated to pick it back up because your opponent might get free hits on you, and you just will be too distracted to fight them if you're just trying to get the water or lava back. If it's essential, like your last water bucket, you might want to pick it back up really quickly. But other than that, just don't feel so worried about getting your water or lava back because either you'll have a second one or it just won't matter in the game that badly. As you might have seen here, I was block hitting a lot in this clip, and if you don't know what block hitting is, basically it's just left clicking your sword and then at the same time right clicking your sword. This is really only available in 1.8.9 and with clients to use. In 1.8.9 it's kind of weird, it won't be the same as block hitting in the client. The clients give you like the old animations and you'll be able to block hit a lot easier. And what block hitting does is it resets your sprint, and it'll make your opponents take more knockback, so you'll be still in their range once again, and they'll be out of your range. So that's what block hitting is, and it's really helpful, but just make sure you don't do it all the time, and you just do it while in a combo, and just to keep them away from you, and you can keep the combo going. Now here is a very fundamental aspect in Hypixel UHC duels. So you might have seen me switch to my 6 bar really quickly and then back to my sword. What I switched to my 6 bar before was to eat a head. And what heads are is basically healing that you can automatically eat by clicking one time on it. Either left click or right click, it doesn't matter. So basically the way to use heads is just to basically have a really good hotkey to be able to hotkey quickly to that slot and then back to your sword. And then use that head that also allows you to have speed. It gives you speed 1 and regen 2 to fight your opponents and just get a bit better combo on them and to just get them away, and maybe once the head's done then you can run away. Just never use heads to run away because the speed will run out and it'll just be a waste of a head and you won't be able to use it in fighting the player. So try to get a head advantage, which basically means if your opponent eats a head and you're still on pretty decent health, just rod them and quickly run away and wait till their head wears off. And if you're on kind of low health, then gapple. And then this means if you haven't eaten any of your heads, you'll have 3 G heads, and then your opponent will only have 2 G heads. So if you're like in just you're trading hits later on in the fight, then you'll just be able to eat your heads and they'll eat all of their heads, but you still might have 1 head left. So that's basically what head advantages are, and it's really good in PvP, and it'll basically help you win the fight. Here's a quick little strategy about when gappling. So as you can see here, my opponent was trying to bow me while I was trying to eat a gapple, so what I quickly just did was switch my blocks really quickly. I just built a 1x2 pillar up in the air and just quickly eat a gapple behind it so he couldn't bow me. Usually at this time I had the high ground, but usually you want to build like 3 blocks high so they can't jump and then shoot the bow and hit you. But since I had high ground here, I was able to just place 2 blocks, and he was 1 block lower than the ground I was standing on, so he was basically I built a basically 3 tall pillar just to gapple behind. So yeah, just do that if your opponent starts bowing you. as you just saw, I quickly went into my inventory and replaced the stack of blocks that was above my other blocks in my hotbar to just get a stack of blocks back in my inventory so I don't run out of blocks just randomly, because that can be kind of distracting and it can just kind of make you lose the battle if you don't have any blocks left and you get distracted by it. So just always make sure that you, every once in a while, you just check and see that you're good with blocks if you need to use your blocks for something. Now what I just did here was build a 1x2 pillar, and usually you don't have to do this, but what I did was just build that so that he was looking at a block instead of me, and he was clicking on a block instead of me, or if he was trying to rod, he would hit the block instead of me, and I would be able to hit him. Now I kind of failed here, and I tried to hit him, but either hit rich didn't work, or my aim just didn't work when I was trying to hit him going around the pillar. But sometimes you can do that. That's just what I try to do in this scenario. Now what I did here was use the bow as a rod. So the reason we do this sometimes is because 1, it makes them take damage, and 2, it makes them go higher in the air, and 3, it catches them off guard sometimes and distracts them. And yeah, it's really useful sometimes. Now you don't want to try to do this all the time, but when they're like running up to you and they're at a decent distance from you, try to use the bow as a rod and then quickly go up to them and try to get them into a combo. So yeah. Now a couple of things I did here. 1, I rotted him while he was gapping just in case if he was trying to do a gapple trick, and then I quickly hit him after I rotted him, and then I quickly hit my S key and maybe one of my 2 strafe keys just to get back away, just so I wouldn't get caught in a combo, just to get like 1 or 2 free hits on him while he was gapping. So that's what I did there. The final strategy I did in this clip, at least, was use the lava as a barrier between us, so I could keep my distance from him and he kept his distance from me. And then I would kind of use that as a distraction as well, and I would go around the lava and I would get a nice combo on him, and I'd use the lava still as a distraction, and yeah, and then I got him into a combo, and yeah. Alright, so yeah, those were basically all my tips and tricks on how to do Hypixel Duels UHC. So, if you want, stick around. I'm still gonna show you the whole clip again, just unedited. I'm just gonna show you the whole clip, a few cuts just to get out the boring parts. And, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you're not gonna stick around for that, thank you so much for watching. This has probably been 18 minutes, and I hope it helped you. I put a lot of work into this, and I hope you all enjoyed. So thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, I'm thinking about doing a how I PvP control settings video soon, so stick around for that. I might do that. I'm probably gonna do that, yeah. And if you want me to do this with something like Skywars or the Bridge, let me know in the comments. I will be happy to do that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.